So you mentioned the freedom that Gary, Keith, and Ron enjoy. You also obviously just brought up Kevin Brown as well. So I'll ask, did what happened to Kevin Brown with the Orioles over the summer at all play a role into your decision of parting ways with the White Sox? Like did what happened remind you of the importance of having um the freedom to kind of say what you want, or more so say what you think needs to be said on a broadcast?
No, honestly, like criticism wise, that was never an issue with the White
Okay.
Sox. And I give them a great deal of credit for that. Like we were able to be honest about the situation. And Stoney, I think, is fairly critical, not like marginally critical, but when he's critical, he's very fair about it. And he is somebody who praises people when they deserve it as well. So that was never a thing for me. The reason the Kevin Brown thing resonated with me is I love the guy.
Yeah.
Like he is one of my best friends and he is one of the nicest people in America. And he never looks for hot take points. He never looks to snipe at people. He is way kinder than I ever am. I mean, he really is truly one of the most marvelous people I've ever gotten a chance to meet and do games with. And so I was just pissed off because he doesn't deserve any of that. And like, he'll be mad that I'm talking about this again because he just wants to go live his life with his newborn daughter and his wife. Like, he just wants to go be a human being. And this all became very all encompassing. But I will say, it was pretty awesome to watch. Or like, I will always appreciate Orioles fans to the end of the earth for chanting his name in the stadium that night. That, like, yeah, I cried that night.
Maybe it's hard to answer this because it's I don't want to ask you to put yourself in his shoes, or say what Kevin should do or anything like that. But if you were in a situation where you felt like you couldn't be critical or say what needed to be said, do you think you would have trouble working for that team?
Yeah. I mean, but the other thing people need to realize, and I think why Gary and I and I like, it's hard to list everybody who took a shot at the Orioles that night, as you may recall from
Yeah.
again this here website. Like you all did this whole compendium of everything that everyone said, and I was really proud to be a play-by-play announcer that night because that's why it was so important we all stood up for each other that night because there are only 30 of these. Like it's
Yeah.
great for me to be able to say like, oh, I want to go somewhere where they let me say stuff. And again, that was not a thing with the White Sox. Like ours was, hey, don't eat on camera, like don't be so funny sort of thing, right? The stuff that really fires my brain specifically. So it's really small potatoes compared to being able to be critical. The answer would be yes for me with my journalism background, but I also will say it is very, very, very difficult to get these jobs. And I will say too, it requires people to take a chance on you. And this is why, like, no matter what happened with the White Sox, and I know I was being a little dodgy earlier, and here's the reason why, honestly. Even though I left, and there have been all these discussions about my sense of humor, which is not a perfect 10 anyway, and, things people have said and all of that, they still hired me in 2016 when I wasn't a major league announcer. And I'm not saying I'm bowing to the feet of somebody who hired me, but they took a chance, man. Like they really took a chance on somebody who was not yet a major league announcer. And I have no choice but to appreciate it deep in my heart. And I do, because to hire somebody with CP who has not done major league games to be your announcer takes guts. And no matter where the relationship ended up, and I do have a lot of fond memories, and all the stuff we're talking about really is small potatoes and pales in comparison to why I really left to take the Tigers job. And it's because of the Tigers and because of what they wanted out of me and what they saw in me. Uh, yeah, there are 30 of these, man. Like it's way harder to become a major league play-by-play announcer probabilistically than a major league player. That is ridiculous, but it's true. And it's not something I take lightly.